Okay, welcome to this video. We're going to do some problems that were in your workbook. We're just going to go over some of the homework, basically. Okay, here we've got two equations, a system of equations, and the y is isolated in the bottom one, so we know y equals this. So instead of we'll write the top one, instead of writing y, we'll write x plus 1. So we'll write x minus 2x plus 1. That's an x plus 1 equals negative 3. And that looks complicated, but now it has no y in it. So I can distribute the negative 2, negative 2x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 equals negative 3. I'm going to erase what I have on top here. So I've just got extra room. And I'll continue the problem up there. So add the 2 to both sides. Well, I can combine these terms on the left, right? So x minus 2x, 1x minus 2, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And then add the 2 to both sides, and you get equals negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Now, if negative x equals negative 1, it follows that positive x equals positive 1. Now, if to find the actual answer here, I need to plug this back into my original system. Now, that was this problem right here. So y equals x plus 1, and x minus 2y equals negative 3. Y equals x plus 1, and if x is 1, then y must be 2. And so it's 1 comma 2 is my answer. And if I plug that back into this problem, I get 1 and 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 1 minus 2 times 2, 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So that's right. So we're finished with that one. Okay, this time we've actually got the print on the page. So 2x plus y equals 3, and x equals 3y plus 5. All right, this time x is already isolated. So I'll replace it in the top equation. So instead of writing 2x plus y equals 3, write 2 parentheses plus y equals 3. Now what goes in those parentheses? I hope you're thinking what I'm thinking. Instead of x, it's what x equals, 3y plus 5. So you can see last time we substituted in something for the y. This time we're substituting something in for the x. It's just because of what's given to us. In this case, they gave us x is already isolated, so that's why we substituted in for that. We distribute the 2, we get 6y plus 10 plus y equals 3. Whoops. Make that long, make that cross on the plus. So this is going to be 7y, and the 10 gets subtracted from both sides, right? Minus 10, minus 10, and that'll leave me with negative 7 on this side, negative 7 on the right, and positive 7y on the left. 7y equals negative 7. Divide both sides by 7. Y equals negative 1. Now we got to plug that into the front. So x equals 3y plus 5. 3 times negative 1 plus 5, right? Because y is negative 1. So 3 times negative 1, that's negative 3. So x equals negative 3 plus 5. So x equals 2. X equals 2. It's pretty messy. But 2, negative 1. So we plug that in on the top. We got 4 plus negative 1 is 3. Plug it in on the bottom. We get 2 equals negative 3 plus 5. So this is the right answer. Positive 2 for x, negative 1 for y. All right. Okay, in this one we see y is isolated. So let's, right here. So let's just plug in what we have for y into the top. So instead of writing 3x plus y, we'll write 3x plus, and we'll put 2x plus 5 there. I don't need parentheses because when I'm adding, the parentheses don't matter. If I was subtracting, it would matter. equals -5. So then this combines like terms and I get 5x. And I subtract 5 from both sides and I get -10. So x equals, divide by 5 on both sides, x equals -2. Now, plug that into the top again, because or actually I could plug it into the bottom now, because now what I want to know is what's y. Y equals 2x plus 5, but x we now know is -2. So 2 times -2 plus 5. Well, that's -4 plus 5, so y equals 1. So in our check, we can -2 and 1. And if we check in the very top problem, that would be 3 times -2 is -6, plus 1 is -5. That makes sense. So that one's correct. Okay, in this one, they tell us y equals two different things. So we could sub either one in for the other one. Does that make sense? You could sub 2x plus 8 into y on the bottom, or you could sub -2x to y on the top. But okay, I like to use this example. If red is equal to yellow, and yellow is equal to green, then what does that tell us about red and green? They're equal as well, right? These two are equal. Same thing here. Y is equal to 2x plus 8. Y is equal to -2x. Therefore, 2x plus 8 equals -2x. And that helps us because we got rid of y and for the moment. And now we can solve for x. So let's add this 2x to both sides. And then we get 4x plus 8 equals 0. So we filled this hole right there. And then we'll subtract the 8 from both sides. And 4x will equal -8. If 4x equals -8, then x equals -2. And if x equals -2 and y is -2 times x, well, -2 times -2 is 4, so y equals 4. So -2, 4 is our answer for this one. Okay, this one's got fractions in it. But again, we can do it the same way we did the last one. If y equals the first and y equals the second, then the first equals the second. I can say 3/4 x plus 1 equals 1/4 x plus 3. And now I can just get all the x's together. Let's subtract the smaller one from both sides. Which one's smaller? This one is smaller. So if you subtract this from both sides, and notice when I subtract, the x comes with. I can't take the 1/4 away from the x unless I divide, right? Anyway, 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4, and 2/4, well, that's the same as 1/2, but I'll write 2/4 just because I don't want to. And also I'm going to subtract the 1 from both sides also, so I can get that x on the left and the number on the right. I'll get 2/4 x equals 2. Now, if 2/4 is the same as half, this is saying half of some number x is 2. And if you figured out that number is 4, you're right. But a good trick for this is just to multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction, because that doing that will make that into a 1, so just 1x. And I'm multiplying here by 4/2, which is the same as 2/1. So this is just 2 times 2 is what I'm saying here. X equals 2 times 2, x equals 4. You see what I'm saying? That this is 2 times 2. So x is 4. All right, what's y? Well, y is 3/4 x plus 1. All right. So it's y is 3/4 of 4 plus 1, because x is 4. It's 3/4 of 4. 3/4 times 4. Now I'm going to put the 4 as 4 over 1, because sometimes that's easier to think of multiplying that way. Plus 1. We'll do the plus 1 last by order of operations. So multiplying these two fractions, it's 12 over 4, right? If you multiply straight across. 12 over 4, which is 3. Another way of thinking of this is I could just cancel the 4's. I get 3 over 1. So y equals 3 plus 1, which is 4. So y equals 4 also. And that makes sense, because 3/4 of 4 is 3. And so this is saying 3/4 of 4 plus 1 is 3 plus 1. And 1/4 of 4 is 1, so this is saying 1 plus 3, which is also 4. So 4 comma 4 is your answer. Okay, good, an easy one. Y equals 4, that one's already done for us. We don't even need to solve for why they gave it to us. And now we just plug it in. 2x minus 3 times 4 equals 0. Well, this is just 12. This is a big minus 12, so to get it over to the other side, I'm just going to add 12 to both sides. Does that make sense? And that's going to just, so then that cancels, and I just get 2x equals 12, so x equals 6. Double check our work, we get 2 times 6 is 12, minus 3 times 4 is 12, equals 0. So, yep, x is 6, y is 4, y is 4. We got that one. Okay, now we got a hard one because nothing is by itself, right? Not x, not y. Nothing's by itself. But it's easy enough to make it by itself, right? From the top one, we can just say x equals 3 minus y. Because if you just subtract y from both sides, x equals 3 minus y. And then we can sub that into the bottom equation and write, instead of writing 2x, we'll write 2 times 3 minus y plus 4y equals 8. So that's just the bottom equation, but with this substituted in for x. And then we can distribute. We get 6 minus 2y plus 4y equals 8. And minus 2y plus 4y just comes to 2y. And this 6 I can subtract from both sides. And we'll get 2y equals 2. So y equals 1. And since y equals 1, I can sub that back in. Well, remember, I got x is 3 minus y. So x must equal 2. Because 3 minus 1 is 2. And if I plug those into the second equation, I get 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So that's right. Got this one. One more. Okay, it's another fraction one, and y is isolated both times. Y equals this, y equals this. So what do we do? I hope it came to you. We're going to set them equal to each other. So set them equal to each other, and then I'm going to add 1/2 x to, do that in red, to both sides. And that fills this negative 1/2 x hole over here. And 1/2 x plus 1/2 x is, what's a half plus a half is a whole, right? So we get x. And we'll subtract this 1 from both sides. And that's just going to give us x equals 8. So we just solved for x. We'll plug that into the top. Y equals half of x plus 1. Well, half of 8 is just 4, right? So 4 plus 1. So y equals 5. And we can just sort of double check that works by looking at the bottom one. Negative half of x is negative half of 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 9 equals 5. So yeah, our answer is 8, 5. And that's all the problems for this video. Thanks for watching.